Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Cooking and Gardening Skyrim. Today we scour the lands and create our apple cabbage stew. A true Skyrim original, which now becomes a true GamerPoet original. With a handful of recipes out there, most failed to bring you what we are about to. A truly delicious, hearty, and easy-to-make rendition of a Dova's favorite hearth fire evening meal. Let's get to it. Quick, honey, let's get out of the rain. Sous Chef and I stopped by Honning Brew Meadery, where we picked up the very first ingredient, honey mead, or honey brown ale. What a sound. Then pour just enough in the pan to cover the bottom. Medium heat until it sizzles. Next stop was the Pelagia farm.
Need something?
Who, us? No, just looking around, taking a look. Thank you. Going this way. Here, little chicken. Papa Michael's got a present for you. Add 2 chicken breasts to the sizzling pan. We are only going to cook them halfway. I'd say that's a touchdown, Pelagia mascot. Then it was off to the Drunken Huntsman's food stand for a few specialty items.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wilds.
Apple smoked chicken sausage. Those huntsmen sure know their stuff.
Just like Uncle Bob used to make.
Well, that wasn't creepy at all. We're using just over a full pound of the apple smoked sausage, and so should you. Cut them up into nice bite-sized pieces. Now wait until those chicken breasts are ready to be flipped.
Go.
Then do so without any arguing.
We're not pretending what you want to pretend. Pretending what I want to pretend is my show.
Now that's a good helper.
Good job.
And then add those freshly cut sausage to the pan. The same thing applies for the sausage. Only a slight cook for the juices to come on out and to help things along before we add the rest. That could be a meal itself. Flipping the sausage for the first time to make sure both sides of it get slightly cooked as well. After about 10 minutes of being in the pan, they are ready to be transferred to the pot, where we will pour the rest of our delicious ale. After all, one can never have too much ale in their stew. Didn't we have this conversation about opinions once already? Light that burner and keep it to medium low. Now we'll take our frying pan, juice and all, and dump it into the pot. The meat will soak and simmer while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. Don't forget to give those pieces some space. More surface space for more taste. Before seeing one of the huntsmen, we stopped over at Carlotta's stand.
Morning, Carlotta. How's it going today?
Life's hard enough with all these men propositioning me.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Yeah. So, what old Pelagia drop off to you today, Carlotta?
A bit of this.
Oh, I bet those propositioning men dropped off something better than Pelagia's old carrot.
Oh, and a bit of that.
Hey, Lucia's running around the market. You mind? Back in the kitchen. Peel and then wash those carrots. Those are angry peels, sous chef. Someone's upset that they drew cleaning and peeling duty. That'll teach you. And now that the carrots are clean, we'll cut them on our vegetable-only cutting board. You don't want to mix raw meat and vegetables, kids.
Hold on, did I say don't hold on? Okay, don't hold on.
And watch those fingers. The perfect size. Perfect. Is for the perfect bite.
Hey, so quick, man. I can't keep up. Have your license revoked.
And then we'll take our time and walk the carrots over to the pot. Open up that lid and add it to the simmering meat. Add as many carrots as you like. Back on old Pelagia's farm, after acquiring one of his chickens, a bit of this and a bit of that, we'll help ourselves, thank you. We gathered the rest of what we could. 2 potatoes, 1 large cabbage, and I even took a leek, which he oddly didn't seem to care about. Now we've showed you how to shuck and clean a leek in our first video, so we'll get through this quickly. Peel the outer layers, chop off both ends, and wash the inside. But here's a new step. Leeks can be tough, and you don't want to choke on them in a soup. So we want to cut them up real small, about the size you would if you were chopping up onions. Large onions. And 1/2 of 1 leek will do the job, as it will add a slight oniony garlic taste to the stew, though weaker than both, so as to not completely overtake the flavor. When done, throw them in that steaming pot and move on to the next thing. Now that's starting to look like a stew. Acquired from our friend Brian, y'all. Here we have...
Nice big apples.
Correct. Nice big apples. Rinse them and get ready to chop them. I said, get ready to chop them. Chop them.
It won't move.
No, it looks good.
Now is the time. Now is good.
Bang it a couple times, make it work.
I quit.
Nice and smooth.
I can't quit.
Next apple.
All right then. Next apple. Chopped like a professional.
Like a professional.
And now it's hunk time.
Say that again. What'd you say?
I think those hunks are kind of big.
Are you saying I'm a big hunk?
To help break down the apple
I don't think that's what I said.
I think it is.
and become part of the broth, adding a subtle apple cider flavor to the stew. Bring them over to the pot and drop them on in. Looking good so far. By now the ale will have started to cook itself away. So now we will add our 5 cups of beef stock.
Ooh.
Truly turning this meal into a stew. The apple should melt down nicely now and become a part of it. Potato. 2 to be exact. First, we will peel the potato. That's peeled good enough.
And that's how a potato's supposed to be peeled. It's like Bro Duel when he makes his bits and bobs show. You have to do the bob and make sure that the bits are done right.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Bits and bobs, babe. Bits and bobs.
Then wash the potato. And finally, cut the potatoes into bite-sized pieces that you will be happy with. Then bring them on over to the pot, dump them in, and let them stew up with the rest. And there's never anything wrong with a little mixing. Moving on. Unfortunately, not all of the ingredients we need to make this stew are in Skyrim. And that is where you, the modding community, comes into play. Apple cider vinegar. Just a couple teaspoons to cut through the taste. Molasses. Also a couple teaspoons.
How much?
Also a couple teaspoons.
Wait.
This will help thicken up the stew just a bit. Honey, which is in the game, but I didn't feel like having to kill a couple of bears to try and obtain it. I just squeezed the bottle until I feel it's been enough. And a very special modded edition, Chipotle Honey Mustard. A little spice, a little more honey, and maybe 2 teaspoons. Follow that up with a little bit of salt
Okay.
and a little bit of pepper. And it's time to mix that stew together and let it cook. Until we add the final ingredient. One cannot have apple cabbage stew without the cabbage. Usually, you would use 1/2 of a large cabbage. However, this is an extremely large cabbage, so we will use 1/4. Take your 1/4 of a cabbage, wash that 1/4 of a cabbage, or 1/2 of a cabbage if you have a smaller one, and chop it up into a bunch of little pieces, removing the core when you get to it. And then chop it into even tinier pieces. Bring that cabbage on over to the pot, dump it in, and mix all of that goodness up together. And now it's time to let our stew stew. Check the stew at half-hour intervals, stirring the stew each time to assure that it does not stick to the pot. The entire stewing time took us about 2 hours. This footage is 3 days old and I can still smell it. And towards the end, if the chicken breasts have not broken up on their own, use your spoon or whatever you're mixing with and go ahead and break that chicken up. That way, everyone can have some. Remember, kids, sharing is caring, and staring is impolite. Now that looks like a properly cooked stew. I honestly wasn't too sure it would be delicious myself. So I brought with me a judge amongst judges. The hardest taste tester to please that there is. Maggie, come here. Try this out. Looks good. Tastes good. Is good. Yum, yum, yum. And that will conclude this edition of Cooking and Gardening Skyrim. And here is a full list of ingredients, their measurements, and the time it takes to cook. Hope you all get a chance to try this out and enjoy.
It's steaming. Must be clean.
It is, because you just cut pork on that, Michael, and people are going to fly out on that. You're not supposed to use the same thing. If you didn't feature me washing it, people might not have noticed it. But since you feature me washing it, I just don't think it's appropriate.
I think it's appropriate. I
Because
think
you're
it
not
is.
supposed to do that.
They're going.
Going to the garage.
Why go in the garage?
To get the goddamn correct cutting board.
Why do we have a cutting board in the garage? I'm not taping. Are we, Maggie? We have to go get the clean cutting board.
I'm going to say your name and address, so you're not going to be able to use it.
It's the same as yours. This is where we keep the clean stuff. You got the keys?
Man is gone from this world, lost in the shadows of the black wings on the
Why are you doing? Light the goddamn thing. Oh my god. Why don't you go get the thing?
No, because, hold on, let me just...
Because doing it 10 more times is gonna make it light, and your hand's now on the camera with it.
Well,
then it turns for his story is over and the dragons are gone.
Thank you for watching.